I think I'm live. You guys, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Kelly Kitchen. Are we live? Can we see everything? Yay! Happy New Year. Welcome to the Kelly Kitchen. We are going to have some food, and some health, and some fun. We certainly had a tremendous amount of fun over the holidays. I missed you guys so much last week. I had a little bit of withdrawal, and so we are going to get busy now. I kind of made up this recipe for bacon wrapped portobello mushrooms, but they all taste so great anyways. Hi, Julie. Hi, Paul. How are you? Okay, so I made up these bacon wrapped portobello mushrooms. You can't really mess it up too much. And we're also going to make my carrot feta soup. Super easy, like 5 ingredients, and all simple stuff that you'll have at the back of your fridge that you want to get rid of. And then we are kind of out of popsicles. So I'm going to make some mocha fudge popsicles. Now, those won't be done tonight. Those take about 24 to 48 hours to fully freeze, but we're going to make them and we'll have them for later when the weather starts warming up, hopefully soon. I'm going to get started on my carrot feta soup, and the reason I love this soup is because I have this huge 5-pound bag of carrots sitting at the back of my fridge, and I can just pull that out, and you're going to use 2 pounds of just regular carrots. Now, they're not technically keto, carrots are not, because they do have carbs in them. They're sugary, but I'd rather you have carrots than Doritos or French fries or something like that. So in my pot here, I have got 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm going to take just a yellow onion. I'm going to get that started to soften up a little bit. This is also a great recipe to get your kids to help you, because there's a lot of peeling carrots, and it's great for like their motor skills and stuff, and it kind of gets them involved in the kitchen. And I really do feel like any type of success in your health, you have to sort of take ownership for. So it's just a way to get the kids involved in what's going on in the kitchen. If I have time, we are going to show you this new squash that I got. It's called kombucha squash, and I guess it's kind of like butternut squash or stuff like that, but it doesn't spike your blood sugar, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So I've got my onions going to start softening up. I have got 2 pounds of chopped carrots. I don't care what size they are, how you do it, just get them peeled and get them chopped. And we're going to put that right into the onions as soon as those soften up a little bit. Super easy recipe. There's 6 cups of chicken stock. You can do vegetable stock if you want this to be vegetarian. You're going to use a cup of feta and a cup of cream and salt and pepper. That's it. Super easy. Oh, wait a second. One more thing. You have to use either a blender or my favorite hand immersion blender that just goes right into the pot. You certainly can transfer to a blender. You just got to be careful, because hot soup, when you put it in a blender, it explodes. And trust me, I've had it happen, and it's not fun. So we're going to get those are softening up very nicely. You don't want to necessarily caramelize the onions. You just want to start to get them started to be soft. And there you go. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I went over to Catalina Island. We took a boat off of Long Beach, and it's just a lovely, quiet, sleepy town. And I had 3 or 4 days to just completely relax. Hi, Kelly. I am making a carrot feta soup right now, and then we're going to make our bacon wrapped, cheese stuffed portobello mushrooms. Okay, while this is softening up, let me just talk about this. I kind of got started a little early. I was a little anxious because I didn't know how long this was going to take me. Hi, Otsuka. Happy New Year. So I got started with the filling for the mushrooms. Now you can use big portobello mushrooms, totally fine. You know, get like 2 or 4 of those, are great for leftovers. Or you can use these little baby ones, like I got there. These are baby portobello mushrooms. For the filling, I love this chunky jalapeno artichoke dip. You can get it at the supermarket in like near the hummus. Don't get the hummus because the hummus is full of carbs. Mushroom alternative. I'm gonna have to think about that. Maybe an onion skin would be nice, or a bell pepper actually would be great too. So I mix a little bit of cream cheese and a little bit of mozzarella cheese because you don't want this to be too. You don't want the filling to be too soupy. You want it to be a little bit thicker. And if you feel like you need to harden it up, you can mix up the jalapeno mix, the mozzarella cheese, and the cream cheese, and then just put it in the fridge and kind of cool it down a little bit. So I just wanted to show you. So those are the mini or the baby portobello mushrooms. You can use white mushrooms if you want. And if you don't eat mushrooms, I would suggest you can do this in jalapeno poppers. Jalapenos. You just take all the seeds out. You can do it in little mini bell peppers would be a great option. You can even do it inside onion skin. I know that sounds weird, but it all comes together. Okay, our onions and carrots are coming together nicely. Just kind of whoops, lost one. Just kind of getting those mixed all together. I have 6 cups of chicken stock. I am going to pour this right in, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to bring this to a boil. Then we're going to simmer it. So all of my carrots and onions are completely covered here. Can you see that? I think you can, right? Yeah, both cameras can see that. I'm going to bring that to a boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer for like 15 minutes before I blend it. I'm going to keep this out. And once that is done, then I'm going to add the cheese and the cream. And you can add half the amount of cream. You can add half the amount of cheese. This really can't be a dairy-free because you need the tang of the feta to sort of cut the sweetness of the carrots. And I think it sort of comes together really nicely because whenever I have some type of a soup in a restaurant, like a butternut squash or a carrot, it always feels like I'm eating baby food, I guess. I don't know. So that's why I think feta is a great match for this. I am going to grab this is my handy dandy emulsion blender. I love it because you can take this top off and just pop it right into the dishwasher. Super easy to clean up. Okay, guys. I filled all of my mushrooms. I just took a spoon. You could, this dip comes in like a spinach dip. The jalapeno artichoke one, I actually love it because it's got a little bite to it. It does have a little bit more carbs than like the spinach one because artichokes and jalapenos have a little bit of carbs because they have higher, they're just more fibrous. But, of course, you can subtract the fiber and get your net carbs. So that is and of course, I had my jumbo bag of cheese, which I'll have we'll make other stuff. I was going to use toothpicks, but basically what I did was I took a package of bacon and I just cut it in half. See how I just cut it in half right there? And each one of these little pieces of bacon just wraps really nicely around my mushroom. Oh God, I almost dropped that. Wraps right around my mushroom, and then you just tuck it underneath, and it should stay there. I have my oven going at 400 degrees, and I think I'm gonna probably do these for about 15 minutes. That should be enough. I want to do them long enough for the bacon to crisp. And towards the end, if I need to, I'm going to crank it up to a broil. And we will get a nice crisp on those. Now, other recipes that I saw when they do a nice crisp on it, it's usually because they smear brown sugar on it, and that gives it a nice caramelization. We're not going to do that. So we don't need that. I also should probably mention, you may have seen, not sure if you saw, but I posted it on social media, that I'm in the middle of a 72-hour fast right now. So I'm about 20 hours in. I know, this is masochistic of me to be doing all this cooking right now, but I promised that I was going to be here on Monday night. So here I am, and you know, this food is very tempting, but I am working with a company called Redmond Real Salt, and if you add a little bit of salt to, I have the worst problem. Whenever I drink too much water, I'm just in the bathroom the whole time. And it's really miserable for me because I just have no time to be running to the bathroom all the time. So if you add just a little bit of salt to your water, it helps you retain a little bit. Actually, it helps with your wrinkles too. So yeah, so I am wrapping these bacon things around here. God, I wish I could take a picture of these. They're so pretty. I'm gonna just wash my hands for a sec. These are gonna go into a 400-degree oven. We're gonna start for 15 minutes. Look at how pretty those are. So these are great. You know, 3 of these would be like dinner with a salad. Great for leftovers. Pop them in a Tupperware. So I'm gonna pop these in. I'm actually gonna put these on a top rack. Woo, those look nice. Put those on a top rack. We'll check those in about 15 minutes. How are my carrots doing? Let's see. I didn't have it on high, so it's not boiling yet. Sorry. We're gonna get started on our popsicles. Staying hydrated. I have a basic staple recipe for all of my popsicles. It's usually a combination of heavy cream, unsweetened almond milk, and my Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. Hi, Lisa. You don't have to powder the monk fruit sweetener, which is a godsend. And this recipe is you can do it so many different ways. You can add strawberries to it. You can add, obviously we're gonna add cocoa powder to it, unsweetened cocoa powder to it. I have banana extract, which I've done chocolate banana popsicles for you guys before, and I think I've done strawberry and cream popsicles before, but you can do pina colada, you can do, you know, just coconut cream, banana cream, and it's just it's a really simple recipe. The basic recipe for fudgesicles is up on my website, and strawberries and cream, that recipe is up on my website also. But if you want to switch it up a little bit, you just make variations in the strawberries, or if you wanted to do like blueberries and coconut or something like that. So we'll get that started now. We're gonna do, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna heat 1 cup of heavy cream and 1/3 of a cup. I thought I was super organized and I'm not. 1/3 of a cup of the monk fruit sweetener. Here's my feta cheese for later. 1/3 of a cup of the monk fruit sweetener. And I like to use a whisk, just a wire whisk, and get the So there's my 1/3 of a cup of my Lecanto monk fruit sweetener. Put that right in there. I like to just use a regular wire whisk. You can use a fork if you want. This is like no frills, nothing fancy, but it is so great. What am I doing? It is so great to have this sweet treat in the freezer. One of the other things that I love about, yes, absolutely, creamsicle. You have to use, somebody just asked about what about doing a creamsicle. You absolutely can do like an orange creamsicle. You would use orange extract, and you actually would probably use a little bit more so you get the orange flavor, but orange creamsicle, absolutely, that's part of it. So the other thing that you have to sort of keep in mind is that you have to have some sort of a bulk. So for the fudgesicle line of popsicles, you know, the 10 or whatever. Hi from Michigan. Great to see you. I'm freezing your butts off there, so you probably don't want to see my popsicles, but you'll have them for summertime. You need the bulk. So for all my fudgesicle recipes, the bulk is my unsweetened Hershey's chocolate. Nothing fancy at all. For my fruit popsicles, like strawberries and cream or blueberries and cream or mixed berries or raspberry lemonade, or even lemon creamsicles, the pulp and the lemon, or those add, they just add a thickness to the, instead of being so icy, this adds a little bit of bulk, I guess you could say. So, ooh, I've got a brand new thing, this. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm going to just turn this down a little bit. And now my carrots are super boiling. So I just turned those down. You check that out. Ooh, hot. So those are going to really soften up the carrots. And I'm going to let that simmer. So maybe about 10 minutes and then I'll check them. So we got that going. This is, I don't really go through chocolate this kind of chocolate that much, so I was surprised that I have a brand new thing. So I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup. I already used 1/3 of a cup of the monk fruit sweetener. Now I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of the chocolate. And here's the thing. You have to be very careful, but you're going to just whisk the chocolate powder. Can you see that? Let me see if you can see that. See the chocolate powder? You're going to whisk the chocolate powder into the heavy cream and the monk fruit sweetener. After you get those together, we're going to add coffee extract and unsweetened almond milk, a cup of unsweetened almond milk, and a little bit of xanthan gum. So if you guys haven't heard me talk about xanthan gum, this is how I keep it. It usually comes in a bag from the supermarket, and you only need a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, and it's pretty expensive, and it lasts a really long time. But xanthan gum is a thickening agent, and you'll see it on the back of a lot of food products, and it kind of looks like, oh God, xanthan gum, what the heck is that? But just know it's a vegetable fiber. And so we'll add just 1/4 of a teaspoon. Trust me, you do not want to go overboard on the xanthan gum. You will end up with a gloppy mess. So, okay, our chocolate is fully incorporated into our, you guys see that? Fully incorporated. I'm going to turn the heat off. And basically, what you were doing is you were sort of melting the sugar crystals and getting the chocolate mixed into the heavy cream. So now I am going to add, whoops, I already did the cream. I don't want too much cream. These are really, they're also considered kind of like fat bombs because they are pretty high in fat, which is, you know, just keep that in mind. This is a cup of unsweetened almond milk. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. I get so off track, you guys. Keep me on track, please. when you have one of these treats, one of these popsicles that has about 3 grams net carbs, it takes a really long time to eat it. Now, I have other desserts, like I have cookies or brownies or cheesecake, and it might also be 3 grams net carbs, but you'll eat it in like 5 bites, and then it'll be done, and then your dessert will be over. So these popsicles, even though it's cold right now, and we don't always eat cold popsicles when it's cold, it's kind of nice to have something that lasts, you know, like there's a satisfaction that comes from that. Okay, so here's a cup of my almond milk, my unsweetened almond milk, and again, I'm just going to whisk that in there. And then, I don't want that to slide in there. And then I am going to put, where did I put my coffee extract? You know what, I think, oh, there it is. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of coffee extract, I get this at every supermarket. I have never had a problem finding this. But if you do have a problem finding coffee extract, easily go on Amazon.com. I think that there's probably links on my website. I'm sure that there are. But this is the brand. It's Watkins extracts. And so anyway, I'm going to put a teaspoon of this. If you don't have extract, here's a little trick for you. You can use decaf Sanka. I know. So I have some other desserts that I use decaf Sanka, and it gives a great flavor without the caffeine. If you don't, you know, everybody, you can find Sanka everywhere. Go to your grandma's house, she'll have Sanka. Okay, so I've got my coffee and my coffee extract and my chocolate. Now, see how my stuff is doing. Oh, lovely. Now, I'm going to just take a 1/4 of a teaspoon, just a little bit of my xanthan gum, because, like I said, you don't want it to be gloppy. It tends to stick together a little bit. And I like to, as I'm whisking, I sprinkle it over like pixie dust over. If you don't have xanthan gum, it is not the end of the world. I promise you. But it does add a chewiness to the popsicle when it's frozen. It makes it less icy. Now, if you have had any experience making frozen desserts with low carb sweeteners, they tend to get super icy in the freezer. And one of the ways that we deal with that is that we put just a tiny bit, like a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon of vodka in our ice cream to keep it from getting icy. But if you don't want the vodka, you know, if you're serving it to kids or people that don't drink alcohol, the xanthan gum is a huge help with that. And when you're making ice cream, you can also use egg yolks. That helps a lot too. Okay, so I've got the mocha and the xanthan gum is in there. I'm just going to put that away so I don't spill it. I'm going to set this off to the back to let it cool down a little bit. When we are ready, you do not need popsicle molds. I have fancy popsicle molds. I use them for my pretty pictures, but I don't use them to make at home. I prefer a Dixie cup. This is 2.5 to 3 ounces. You can get them at any supermarket, and they store much easier in the freezer, and they are super easy to get off of the popsicle once the popsicle is done. So I prefer these. If you want to use the popsicle molds, have at it. I prefer the silicone ones, so you can peel it off of the popsicle, but they're just much harder to get them out. So I don't, you know, they're fun shapes and they look pretty in the pictures. My favorite picture is the lemon raspberry one. I've got like floating raspberries in there. It's super pretty. But anyways, okay, so carrots are doing their thing. Chocolate popsicles are cooling down. I'm going to check on our mushrooms are doing super well. Let's check my carrots and see if they are ready. I don't think that they are. And no, they need a little bit more time. We're just going to keep those going. Get those nice and cleaned up. So you know what this means? I get to show you this wacky thing that I have been wanting to do, and check this out. So I've been seeing all over the keto boards this thing called kombucha squash. And I've never had it before, but people talk about it all the time. And it's pretty inexpensive. It doesn't spike your blood sugar. And I'm told that it tastes kind of like the cross between a sweet potato and a butternut squash and maybe even spaghetti squash. And you can cook it with the skin on. So what I did, because it's super hard, I don't know if you can hear that. It's super hard, but I just popped this in the microwave for like 5 minutes. And then I took a knife and I stuck a knife in a couple of times and I put it in for another 5 minutes. And now it is starting to soften a little bit. So I am going to, it came apart. It came off so easily. So look at how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? Smells like squash. What do you know? So you can cook this with the skin on. We're going to scoop out the seeds and we're going to roast this in the oven with just a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. This is great for batch cooking. So let me grab a spoon. And because I popped this in the microwave, everything is much softer, and then I kind of let it sit there for a little while. You guys, my favorite viewer has just joined us. Everybody say hello to Peter Bromley. Hi, Peter Bromley, all the way in all the way in Canada, Toronto. This is a kombucha squash. It's not a watermelon, Peter. So I'm going to just scrape out the insides, get that nice and clean. Then I'm going to put it on, there it is. I'm going to put it on a parchment line. Do you hear that? That's our bacon. That's our mushrooms. I don't think they're ready, but let's check them. Oh, we're getting there, you guys. I can't take that out right now because I'll probably drop it. So we're going to put that in there for, let's put it in for another 10 minutes. Because then that'll give us time to get this ready, and then those will be done. So look at how easy that is to slice. I love that. So I'm told that after you roast these that you can actually eat the skin. Hi, who is that? I gotta have it. Oh, yes, you can do it in the Instant Pot too. I've heard all about that. I did not pull out my Instant Pot tonight for our show, but I will be pulling out my Instant Pot when we're all done, because I'll be making my rotisserie chicken for the rest of the week. And keep that going for the rest of, get all my batch cooking, because I've been away for the last 5 or 7 days. So I came home to a very empty kitchen. My poor children were so deprived, and we're just going to get all of this kombucha squash right here onto our cookie sheet. I tell you, putting in the microwave, it just speeds the whole thing up. And what's going to happen when we put it into the oven is it's going to continue roasting, but it's going to caramelize and have a nice, a really nice brown on it, and it's super pretty. I hope it will taste as good as my compadres have told me it will taste. Okay, so there is my kombucha squash, I think that's what you call it. I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of olive oil, just a tad. Hi, Joyce. How are you? Thanks for coming. I love you guys too. Okay, so we're just going to do a little drizzle of olive oil. And then we're going to sprinkle. Don't you love my cabinets? They're so clean and organized. Yay. So we're going to sprinkle little pixie dust of salt. Get a nice flavor. That brings out the sweetness when you do a little bit of the salt on there. Then we're going to crack some pepper on there. I have 2 racks in my little tiny oven, so these are going to go on the bottom rack until the mushrooms are done. I know that this wasn't on the menu, but I kind of felt like I wanted to add it in, and I'm really happy because I think we had some downtime, so it all worked out, right? Okay, so there you go. I've got my kombucha squash, olive oil, and salt and pepper. Hi, Marie. How are you? We're going to get this into the oven. If you're just joining me now, in the oven, we've got mini portobello mushrooms that are stuffed with a cheese mixture and wrapped in bacon. Those have been in there for about 15 minutes or so. Guys, we're doing great on time. Our carrots are simmering, so we're going to check on those. Let's get that out of the way, and then we will use our hand immersion blender. And then we are also going to, where's my thing? We're going to pour, so getting the popsicles into your popsicle molds, it's really, really, really helpful to have them in a pourable sort of container. And this saucepan, if you have the saucepans that have the spout on the side, I would recommend those, but I usually just transfer into a measuring cup with a spout on it. So I'm just going to I just give it one more whisk, making sure that everything is mixed together. Because I'm doing my 72-hour fast, I can't taste this, but sure does smell like mocha. And we're going to pour that right into, see, it's got a nice thickness to it. Everybody's going to be so happy that I've got these mocha. The mocha ones are a favorite. The chocolate banana are a favorite, and the chocolate peanut butter is the #1 favorite. So I don't think I've done the chocolate peanut butter for you guys, but we'll do it another time. Okay, so here is my mocha mixture. I'm going to evenly distribute between these 8 cups, and I'm not going to fill them completely because I want to evenly distribute. And you may be asking, where are my popsicle sticks? So here is a little trick. I like to take a piece of tin foil, and I will cover this with the tin foil and put a little tiny slice into the top of each cup of the tin foil over each cup. So that worked out perfectly. I am going to, there it is. Found it. This one needs a little bit more. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of tin foil right on top of this. Then we're going to take a knife. How's my time? We're making very good time. So you see I have my little 8 cups here. I'm going to line them up so they're all pretty even, and I can kind of keep track of all those. So you take your piece of tin foil, you put it right on top. And then you gently, so you can see the circles of the tops of the cups. And I'm going to show you this as soon as I get the popsicle open. Okay, so I've got all of my cups there. Now, I'm going to take a very sharp steak knife, and you're going to just do a tiny slit the size of your popsicle stick right in the middle of each of your cups. So there are 8 cups, and I'm doing 8 slices. If you don't want to get fancy like this, here's the other thing you can do. Don't use the tin foil. Freeze them for about half an hour, and then they will be a little bit slushy. Then you can put the popsicle sticks in, and they won't flop over. So we're going to just look at how beautiful this is. Who needs to buy silicone molds? You don't need to. And by the way, if anybody wants to borrow mine, I have like 50 of them. I need 2 more. I cleaned out my freezer, so I have plenty of room to get these into my freezer. I need 2 more of these babies. 1, 2. I'm going to check on our mushrooms. Let's get these into the freezer. See how nice. I'm going to show you how nice those look. See? So easy. Those are going into the freezer. When they're all done, you guys, this is how we store them in the freezer. Just a Ziploc bag. And this is our popsicle. Super easy. And you just tear that paper right off, and you're good to go. There's no cleaning up of a mold or no unmolding anything. Anyway, so those popsicles will be in there for at least 24 hours, and it's best, 48 hours or a little bit longer. So, okay, I am going to check on our mushrooms. I think I'm going to do a quick broil for, let's do a broil for like 3 minutes, and then we'll check it. Okay, let's get busy on our, that's off. On our carrot soup. Oh, those are nice and soft. The carrots are super soft. Even the big hunk of carrot, super soft. Okay, we're going to get those out of the way. We are going to use our hand immersion blender. This is one of my favorite tools because it was only 25 bucks, and I use it all the time. And it has like this safety thing, which I don't always love, but you push this down, and then you make sure that the bottom of it is immersed, and then you keep the immersion blender underneath the liquid because you don't want it splattering in your face. And you're going to just go around and take care of all of those hunks of carrots. After we get this nice and pureed, we're going to add in our feta cheese and our cream. I can't taste it, but I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. And the key for me is that I don't want my carrot soup to taste like baby food or have that texture where it feels like mashed baby food. So for it to have a nice puree, in the restaurants, they put your puree like through a sieve, and I don't have time for that right now. And we don't care enough about it. Whoops. We're almost done. So you can do this in a blender if you want to. And there we go. I think I got them all. Yes, I got all of our carrots. Don't worry, I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to put that off to the side because we're going to use that one more time. We are going to add a cup of cream and a cup of feta cheese. So first I'm going to do my feta cheese. I'm going to do a little bit of salt, probably like a teaspoon. I think that's what the recipe calls for. Check the website, thekellykitchen.com. That is where the recipe is. I think that's about a teaspoon. And we'll add a little bit of cracked pepper. Give it a nice savory sort of flavor. Put that in there. We'll get this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to do a cup of feta cheese. That's our bacon and mushrooms. Okay, let me just get this mixed up. I hope I don't burn those. Okay, so the feta is going to just melt in there for a second. Whoops! I like crispy bacon, don't you? I think that that's just fine. So there are our bacon wrapped cheese portobello mushroom caps. We're gonna let those cool down a little bit, and then we'll put one on a plate so you can see what it looks like. Our kabocha squash is still doing its thing in here. I'm gonna let that roast. Let's do that for like 15 minutes. And we don't need to show you that because if it's done, it's done, but we don't really need to show you that. Okay, so those look fantastic. We're gonna finish up with our carrot soup. So our feta cheese is melting into the mixture, and we're gonna add a cup of heavy cream. Again, you don't have to use a full cup. You can use a half a cup, but I think it really adds to. Do I see how pretty that is? Gorgeous. I should be a food stylist. I think the cream adds to it not tasting like baby food. So we're gonna just nicely, gently stir that together. I'm gonna give it one more go with the immersion blender so that I make sure. I've missed maybe 1 or 2 carrots in here. This is hot. And what I'm also gonna make sure that I get all those chunks of feta cheese. We'll get those taken care of. We're almost done, you guys. Dinner on the table and leftovers to boot. We have these little guys, these little mushrooms. These will probably be several meals. This soup, if we don't eat it in the next 2 days, whatever is left over will go into the freezer. We have our popsicles. Well, I can tell you right now, I have the willpower of like freaking a god because this all smells beautiful and amazing, and I love it. But I am committed to my 72-hour fast, and I will let you know how it goes. So far, so good. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to show you what these mushrooms look like on a little plate so you can see. See, I try to be prepared, and sometimes I just forget these things. So check it out. These are great as little appetizers. Look at how pretty those are. These are great as leftovers, as appetizers, or as like a meal. You could have 4 of these with a side salad and maybe some roasted broccoli or something like that. But those are our bacon, cheese stuffed portobello mushrooms. And they, delicious. So those are done. I want to show you what the soup looks like. Where's my ladle? I've got my ladle here. Oh, this is so velvety smooth. I am going to just do a little cup of this so you guys can see what it looks like. You guys already saw them, our popsicles. Wow. This, in and of itself, this soup is perfect with a side salad, and you could make a chaffle with this. You can make a bunch of chaffles, save them for later, and then just heat this up for a really easy, quick dinner. Did I miss anything? I think we're done, you guys. The kabocha squash is doing its thing. It's not going to be done for a while. Thank you so much for joining me in the Kelly Kitchen. I missed you guys last week, and we have so much fun stuff in the new year. 2020 is our year. We are going to try lots of fun new things, and hopefully my cookbook will be out by then. It's a lot of work, but I can't wait for it to be done. Follow me on all social at the Kelly Kitchen. Like me on YouTube and subscribe. And I'm getting better and better at this whole tech thing. So hopefully everybody enjoyed your time here. And of course, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, I love suggestions. I got a great one from my friend Laura. We're gonna do zoodles with a lemon Parmesan chicken. I think we'll maybe even do that next week. So anyways, thank you so much for coming, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.